Welcome to the Wolf Sports Show. Trusted, proven analysis of all 32 teams every week during the NFL season. Hey, it's Dave Chapin. Welcome to the latest episode of the Wolf Sports Show. We had the first head coach firing of 2025, a star player returning from suspension. We'll quickly hit all of that. This week, we'll coast through each division, give thoughts on all 32 teams as usual, deeper thoughts on some teams more than others. For example, the Bills, and we'll start there with the AFC East. Now, the Patriots, they own the early tiebreaker, both 4-2, but I want to start with Buffalo. They're on their bye week. Probably comes at a good time because things clearly not working right now. You could see in the Monday night loss to the Falcons how frustrated Josh Allen is, the look in his eyes, on his face. Nobody's getting open. Nothing is easy for them. And the first drive of the game, they did go right down the field. Started with a long pass to Joshua Palmer, who was banged up, and that didn't help. Dalton Kincaid was out with an oblique injury. From there, things were very challenging. Defense, when they look bad, they get gashed. Bijan Robinson had a long touchdown, had well over 200 yards. Yeah, I don't know if a trade would solve things, but right now, not looking good for a Super Bowl hopeful, and I'm very surprised they're still tied for Super Bowl favorites. Honestly, I don't see that at all. Past two games, I'm anxious to see what they look like after their bye week. Patriots close win against the Saints. Another efficient day from Drake May, but also with hitting a lot of chunk plays down the field against New Orleans. Now Mike Vrabel faces former Titans team, a franchise that's having a lot of trouble since firing him. Dolphins lost to the Chargers, yet another close loss. They're just not finding ways to finish the close games this year. That's been the difference, 1-5 start. The Jets, the only winless team in the league at 0-6. I like the toughness the defense showed in the loss in London last week against the Broncos, but as Aaron Glenn said, passing offense was non-existent. Staying in the AFC North, Steelers at 4-1, despite the hot start, sort of going under the radar with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. That's the opposite of what was going on with the Jets, where the media couldn't stop talking about them even though they weren't very good at all. Very comfortable spot in the AFC North early. Bengals 4 straight losses, but I like how Joe Flacco played in his first start with the team. Basically got rid of the ball. A lot's going to ride on the defense, making plays, forcing turnovers. But if you take care of the ball, win the turnover battle, you have a shot. Browns 1-5. Honestly, didn't understand at all. Starting the game in empty and throwing 52 times with Dylan Gabriel. That was just really surprising. And now catching criticism from Mike Tomlin, wondering why they traded Flacco away to a division opponent. Baltimore also on a bye, just 2 teams this week, them and Buffalo. The Ravens now 1-5, but an encouraging sign, I think, the run game with Derrick Henry. It got going. We're stopped at the goal line. A couple of sneaks didn't work, but Henry had over 100 yards, slicing through the Rams defense. Positive sign as Lamar Jackson looks to return on offense and Roquan Smith, all-pro linebacker on defense after the bye week. AFC South, Colts 5-1. Daniel Jones had an interception. Mac Wilson, give him credit, Cardinals linebacker, made a nice play on it. And the defense gave up points to Arizona, but they still came through the win. Again, big points from the offense, 31 points. Jaguars were in a gritty game with the Seahawks last week. Couldn't get the ball in the end zone enough. 20-12 loss. Now at 4-2, they go to London for the final game in England of the 2025 NFL season, facing the Rams. Texans had their bye week. Now they face that Seahawks team that just had a really good defensive outing against Jacksonville. So we'll see how CJ Stroud looks off the bye. And the Houston defense had 2 weeks to prepare for that matchup. Now Titans, I mentioned Vrabel faces them this week. His firing at the time, it was obvious, it was crazy. And it's just been a cycle of firing GMs and firing coaches at different times. So now that's going to happen again. This new regime, although Chad Brinker, the president, is playing a large role there, but the new GM hired in the offseason after Callahan was with the former GM, and now it's back to a GM hiring a new coach. You'd like to see some consistency and maybe bringing in an entire regime at the same time. Mike McCoy takes over, former Chargers head coach, as the interim head coach, and one seat growth from Cameron Ward over the final 11 games. AFC West, Chargers 4-2. Justin Herbert, Ladd McConkey were clutch. Hassan Haskins had a good block, getting them in field goal range for a Cameron Dicker field goal to win it against the Dolphins. Defense giving up some stuff, been concerning. Colts a good test on that side of the ball this Sunday. Broncos defense had 9 sacks in the London win over the Jets. Offense, obviously expecting much more from them. We'll see how they fare against a confident Giants group this week. Chiefs 3-3, but they look tremendous. I'd say should be the clear favorites to win the Super Bowl right now, even with that 500 record. Rashee Rice now joining at receiver on an offense that's already been clicking. Defense is looking elite again. And I know a lot of talk about the officiating in their favor. Definitely a lot of coincidences and can get frustrating to watch. That said, the Chiefs, a championship caliber team that doesn't beat themselves. Final AFC team, the Raiders, at least got on the board with a win, 2-4 now, ending a 4-game losing streak. took care of the Titans. They take on Kansas City this week. Those games are always intense. We'll see if Max Crosby can make some game-wrecking plays. To the NFC East, every team except the Giants lost in Week 6. The Eagles now 4-2, 2 straight losses. One of the worst all-around games, both sides of the ball, that I can remember. Last Thursday night against the Giants, defense especially, really struggled. And then Jalen Hurts on offense. Can't remember him playing worse than that. Take on a Vikings squad coming off the bye this week. Commanders been really up and down both on offense and defense. Lost to the Bears, and the upcoming schedule very challenging. This week against the Cowboys, a big one. Dallas 2-3-1. A shootout loss to Carolina. Defense showed major life 2 weeks ago in the win over the Jets, and then again struggling last Sunday. But should get healthier. CeeDee Lamb, Kevontae Turpin, first-round guard Tyler Booker all look like they'll be back for the NFC East matchup with Washington. Dak Prescott remains on fire. George Pickens has been outstanding with Lamb out. The Giants, Cam Scatterboo, 3 touchdowns. Surprised he's not getting more early Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year love. He's been a tone setter with the way he runs, the energy he brings, the toughness. Brian Burns in the defense got after Jalen Hurts a bit. They'll need to bring that energy against the Broncos on Sunday. NFC North, all teams over 500. Packers 3-1-1. Josh Jacobs paced the offense and the team overall in the win against the Bengals. Defense was interesting to see how frustrating they were getting with Flacco getting rid of the ball so quick. You could see they wanted to get home for more sacks and more big plays. They take on the Cardinals this Sunday. Lions 4-2, not a good game for them at Arrowhead. The Brian Branch situation after the game, suspended for a game. The 2 missed opportunities were the 4 points taken off on the Jared Goff touchdown catch with the flag being thrown like over a minute later, which was just crazy to me. And then the Amon-Ra St. Brown dropped 4th down reception, which you never see. Big turning points in the game, but we're definitely outplayed by the Chiefs. Ali McNeil at defensive tackle expected back for Monday night against Tampa Bay. Big NFC matchup. Vikings had the bye. Watch the quarterback situation. Looks like Carson Wentz again against the Eagles. Let's see how Kevin O'Connell schemed against the Philly defense that struggled last week. Bears 3 straight wins now. Exercised some demons by beating Washington in Washington, the site of that Hail Mary loss last season. The players have major confidence in Ben Johnson as the head coach. It's evident how hard they play. They're playing fundamentally sound on defense, having Dennis Allen as the coordinator helps. They face the Saints, Allen's former team, where he was the head coach. NFC South, Buccaneers 5-1. We're seeing the depth of their roster. Tez Johnson stepped up with long touchdown catch last week. Spectacular lunging reception on a deep ball from Baker Mayfield. It was funny, he thought MVP chants were for him initially, and Sterling Shepard had to tell him like they were for Mayfield. Emeka Ibuka's going to miss time because of a hamstring injury, but Mike Evans has a shot to return from his hamstring injury this Monday against the Lions. Falcons 3-2. When they've looked good, they've looked about as good as any team in the league. Just handled the Bills. Bijan Robinson over 200 total yards. I mentioned the Bills, everything being difficult for them. Falcons defense played a role in that, certainly. Panthers 3-3 after beating Dallas. Rico Dowdle over 200 yards in 2 straight weeks, putting up almost video game numbers the way he's running right now. Chuba Hubbard looks like he might be back after missing 2 games with the calf. I don't know how you don't play Dowdle a ton, though, with the way he's running. Saints 1-5, too many chunk gains given up to the Patriots last week, and let's certainly be tested by Ben Johnson's attack this weekend. Finally, the NFC West, still early, but feeling pretty good about Niners, Seahawks, and Rams, all at 4-2 as preseason picks to make the playoffs, 3 teams from the division. Unfortunately, the Niners might be an uphill climb from here with Fred Warner also done for the season with an ankle injury, joining Nick Bosa for being out for the year. Just a horrible blow to a team that has had terrible injury luck over the years. Things sort of caught up to them, I think, at Tampa Bay last week in terms of injuries and Warner being hurt during the game, but hopefully getting healthier. George Kittle expected back from his hamstring injury, and we'll see if Brock Purdy can play. Although Mac Jones again filling in admirably and throwing total dots, a couple of interceptions last week, but it was a tough situation and still playing extremely well. Seahawks again, a tough low-scoring win against the Jags. That's the type of team they want to be. Sam Darnold again throwing some total strikes. 61-yard touchdown to Jackson Smith and Jigba was the highlight. One of the best games of Week 7, unfortunately, for East Coasters at 10 on Monday night is Seahawks-Texans, as mentioned earlier. The final London game of the year is the Rams, coming off a win at Baltimore, 17-3. Defense gave up stuff on the ground, but ultimately just giving up 3 points. Puka Nacua looks like he's going to miss due to an ankle injury. They have the bye coming up, so expect them to play it safe and play through Kyron Williams and Devontae Adams against Jacksonville. Finally, the Cardinals, as mentioned, a shootout loss to the Colts. Overall, despite the loss, now 4 straight, I do like the way they played and responded to a very difficult loss the week before, the Amari DeMarcado situation with the fumble, hosting the Packers in Week 7. So after running through each division, that'll do it for this week's episode of the Wolf Sports Show. The schedule includes a late Monday night game, 10 o'clock Eastern, and the schedule includes the final London game of the season, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Enjoy all the games. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back next week. Make sure to subscribe to the channel right here on YouTube, and you can also find the audio version wherever you get your podcasts. We'll see you next time.